Hello, this is Chef Anna. Welcome to my cooking channel. I'm so glad to see all of you and I hope all is well. Today I have something very delicious yet simple. I'm trying to simplify it and make it easy for you to follow. Today I'm cooking spicy spare rib and pineapples curry. You heard it right, it's going to be delicious. Therefore, I would like to welcome you into the kitchen so I can start cooking. Please come along.
I meditate to take my mind away. Pray for the world in hopes for a better day.
First of all, for the start, I'm getting a rag of pork spare ribs, as I always do, to clean off any extra fat or hanging meat. As my polite gestures, always cutting any kind of meat into a small, proportionate bite. I'm so accustomed to blanching the meats once it's being cut. This is the format to minimize any of the residues or the impurities. It may not remove all, at least it's minimizing it. The best way to blanch any meat is to make sure that you use a good sized pot and the water is already boiling hard. It's senseless to blanch any meat if the water is not boiling hot. What I typically do is to leave it blanching for about 10-15 minutes until I'm satisfying with some of the residues and impurities being removed. Alright, the meat is prepared. Let's go and see about our ingredients for today. I have to warn you that some of these ingredients are pungent. If you're not used to the smell, I apologize. But I promise you that once it's done, the food will taste good, will smell so delicious. The tricky parts about the pungent ingredients is that once you combine with other ingredients and the amount of cooking time, it'll help oxidize and remove some of the pungent smell and leave this delicious smell that is so irresistible. Yes, there are a few pungent ingredients that are necessary for this type of cooking. For example, this shrimp paste. The shrimp paste, it does not smell anything like food, but believe me, it's all shrimp processes in a way that it does have this strong smell, a pungent smell that almost like socks, almost like underneath of your feet. But I guarantee you that once it's completely cooked, you won't smell a thing. For that creamy taste today, I'm using 2 cans of coconut milk. The first one is 19 fluid ounces and then the 16 fluid ounces. I'm making sure that my pot is already hot before I pour in my 19 ounces, the whole can at once. As for the additional can, I'll tell you why we'll need it for later, because we're going to need refilling it as we cooking. Lower the heat and then stir occasionally because coconut milk will burn quickly. The next times when I cook this type of pot, I would express my own coconut milk from the real fresh coconut. The process of making coconut milk, it's about a whole full videos itself. A perfect explanation why we need to saute the coconut milk first is to allow the coconut to extract its oil. The oil is what gonna appear on the top of the soup that make it look so delicious and so inviting. And what it does also is that it releases the beautiful smell, aroma of the natural coconut oil. I have been sauteing this coconut until it extracts some oils. So the next things I do is to add a curry paste. Because my first can of coconut milk have evaporated and oxidized, therefore with the paste it gotten dried. So what I do is that I would pour about 1/4 cup of that additional coconut milk into it. I make sure to keep the bottom of the pot busy by stirring it because the paste and the coconut milk does not agree with the high temperature. So therefore I reduce the heat and cook it slow and stir constantly. You know what? This curry paste has been in incubate too long. It's about to bring in the next items. Good things that we already have the spare ribs. Blanch it. Now just go ahead and pour the whole things in the pot. I won't forget to blend them well and stir them pretty good because the coconut milk and the paste is ready to burn at any time. Well, good thing we still have the extra coconut milk. Put a little bit in there just to keep the moisture going. Perhaps add a little bit of water, maybe a cup. Well, as a chef, we know how to combat and doubt the fire or the heat or the burnt. Any form of liquid beside the cooking oil will help keep it moistures and a perfect blending. And I don't mean Jack Daniels or Hennessy or Napi Long. None of that stuff. This is no alcohol cooking. And if you want to explore it by adding in those things, and if you get high or get drunk, guess what? It's not from me. Ooh, when you learn from cooking school, when the sound of that sizzling is the sound of cooking of good food. Oh yes, but of course, keep stirring. Now let's go to the next level. We cannot have done the savory cooking without adding other necessary ingredients, won't we? When the chef cooking food without proper ingredients, just like you being on the beach without those luscious blue water. Yes, go ahead and add the chicken bouillons, the tamarind sauce, and the palm sugars. If you don't have palm sugars, you know what? Cut the chase. Just use regular sugars that you have at home will work as well. But you know me, I like to go to an extra. I will add the fish sauce now also, but then I will save the shrimp paste last because I try to avoid the pungent smell at first. I'm gonna add it toward almost the very end of my cooking. That way I only have to smell it for a few minutes before I complete the cooking. Okay, so here's my analogies about melting the sugar, right? So any amount of sugar, any cube, any combination of sugars, when it's in the heat, it'll melt. Just like how you melt the man's heart is by cooking him delicious food. But cooking good food does not keep a man. Having kids for the man does not keep the man. Give him good sex and all that does not keep the man. Or being nice, friendly, loving, and nice and virtuous does not keep the man. The only time that you can keep the man is when the man wants to be kept. Alright? Hear it? A good man will appreciate any type of gestures, any type of cooking, any type of loving. He would appreciate and he want to be there because he loves and cares for you. Well, I guess while I was talking to you, I forgot that I probably finished up the whole can of that additional coconut milk and add another 10 cups of boiling water. I believe that 15 cups of water will keep this soup boiling until it get evap, and then toward the end it will be just proportion enough to cover the meat. I calculated about 15 cups because we started adding plenty of water from beginning of our cooking to keep it from burning. So then it adds up about 15 cups altogether, which it will get evap toward the end of our cooking. And believe me, we will need this much of water because we will be adding about 1 whole pineapples into this pot. So it'll cover. Ooh, don't you look at that. The colors of the coconut milk and the curry paste, when they combine together, it just brings out the best color of the Eastern cooking. And not to mention the smell of the food is so incredibly delicious. It's so salivating. It's so hungry for. Oh yes, do not forget to remove those residue. We won't need it in our soup. because the residues will not make our food looking good. Well, I guess I'm gonna go ahead and add another tablespoon of fish sauce now. Not another, my bad. I didn't add it earlier because I'm trying to avoid all the pungent smell. So I'm adding my 1 tablespoon of fish sauce now just to leverage the taste. And I beg your pardons, I forgot to mention that the curry paste is already salty, so therefore we shouldn't be using extra sodium if it's not necessary. But because I have about 15 cups and then 2 cans of coconut milk, it's already diluted out. No, I did not forget. I'm about to go do next. Let's go peel our pineapples. I must ask for your forgiveness because I was saying that I'm be using the whole pineapples, which I lied. I used just a little bit of the pineapple on the top in my other cooking yesterday, but I don't have the whole full half, but I have at least half, no, more half. I'm sorry, the curry does it to me. I'm not making a whole lot of sense. It's strange because in my language, Cambodian, we call these speck of the pineapple eyes, EYES. And I went Google and see what English will call it. Basically, it called eyes also. And there is an analogy of the eyes of the pineapples in Cambodia. It literally means that you being nosy and that you being eavesdropping. As you can see why, because pineapples had many eyes in a rows around the fruits. So there you can't miss anything. Okay, I'm just joking here, right? So I guess once the eyes are removed, we have now blind pineapples. So we're gonna go ahead and dice it up nicely in a smaller pieces, make it half, and then the second half will be 4/4 of the pineapples without the eyes. Another word, you are safe now to chop it all up because the pineapple does not have eye to see what you are doing to it. Always remember that meat, vegetables, you can cut an extra large bite because once you cook it, it will cook down and shrink down to a smaller bite sizes, so you don't have to worry about it being too big. Well, here it is. It's not the whole pineapples, but we have at least 2/3 of the pineapples that the eyes are being removed, so we are now safe to cook it. You know what? I have been cooking for the last an hour to 45 minutes or 2 hours already on slow heat, and I believe that the meat is tender enough to add pineapples because we're cooking for another 20 to 30 minutes to make sure that pineapples are cooking right and it's releasing its flavor, which is sweet and sour flavors that will make the soup taste even more delicious. I'm so happy right now for the fact that how the soup is looking. Look at that. Look at the beautiful color of the yellows pineapples in contrast with the savories of coconut milk that's already been extracted, and now it's oily and it smells so incredible. And in contrast with the curry paste, oh, it looked amazingly beautiful. I hope you remember I was telling you that I was saving one of the ingredients that was pretty much pungent, like the socks, and I'm not kidding. Though it stink and smell and all that, but it's so essential for this particular. If you cannot stand it, we'll just go right ahead and use the soy sauce. Oh, I'm sorry, fish sauce only. There's no soy sauce in this recipe. I'm sorry. Although the original context, we will need leaves of basil to help with garnishments and enhance the aromas of this cooking. However, so there isn't any available at the Asian supermarket because it's colder seasons and people really buying it off. So therefore, I couldn't get any. So I'm not gonna worry about it. And if I need something greenery, I will substitute it with the kaffir leaves. I put some of the whole leaves already. I use about 10 leaves, 10 whole leaves, and I chopped up about 10 of the kaffir leaves. If you don't have kaffir leaves, you know what? Press the luck. You will be fine also. Once the kaffir leaves is added into the pot of curries, it elevated the savory up to a new level. That smells, that aromas of the herbs, fresh herbs such as basil or kaffir leaves really complete this type of cooking. Believe me, if you can't get it, then sorry for that. As you can see also that the juice really narrowed down to a very minimals. If you have too much juice, make sure that you cook it down until the juice is level up with your meat or your vegetables. That will be the exact flavors we required. If the juice is too high about the meats or vegetables, and if the meat and the vegetable is not too tender and that need to cook a little longer, go ahead and heat up and then boil down the liquid or the juice in the soup, so that way it'll even out with the meat and the vegetables. This bowl of stew is very universal. That means you can consume this with cooked rice, cooked grains, French bread, any type of bread, any type of carb that you prefer. You can be dipping, or you can be just having it with just plain white rice, or you can go fancy with the croissant or French bread or sourdough. Make sure that you heat it up and butter it up, so that way it'll go very, very well with this delicious and savory spare ribs curried with pineapples. You know what? This cooking had come to an end, and I appreciate you tuning in toward the end.
Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate your precious time. I would love to have you help by subscribe, share, like, and bell clicking. It helps my channel to grow, and I appreciate your support as always. Where you at, I hope you have a nice time and be safe. Until our next video. See you.